Mr. Chairman, we are grateful to Ms. Martha Pobby, ASG for Africa, in the Departments of Political and Peacebuilding Affairs and Peace Operations, and Ms. Joyce Msuya, Acting USG for Humanitarian Affairs and Emergency Relief Coordinator. Unfortunately, the armed conflict in Sudan is becoming protracted. The country's economic and social problems are mounting. International efforts to launch an inter-Sudanese peace process are stalling. In such circumstances, the warring parties are relying on the use of force to resolve the existing disputes. The humanitarian situation in Sudan remains dire. Nearly 75% of health facilities are not working. The country is short of medicines, and 2/3 of the population have no access to healthcare. There are reports of serious diseases spreading across the country. What continues to be a major challenge is that the country's humanitarian response plan remains underfunded, with less than half of the required funds collected, $1.2 billion of the required $2.7 billion. However, we do have doubts about the accuracy of the predictions regarding imminent famine in certain parts of the country, including the Abu Shuk, Salom and Zamzam refugee camps around El Fasher. It is crucial for humanitarian workers to give objective assessments, verified with the Sudanese authorities. Famine in Sudan is something we should prevent from happening. Moreover, the country does have food. The problems are linked to its distribution and, most importantly, to the acute shortage of money among the population. We know that the humanitarian agencies working in the country have the necessary tools to tackle the problem. At the same time, any humanitarian assistance should be carried out exclusively in coordination with the country's central authorities and take into account the underlying causes of the problems, as well as realistic ways of addressing them. In this context, Russia welcomes the initiative of the Sudanese leadership to open the Ada crossing point on the border with Chad on August 15th for the delivery of humanitarian aid to the civilians. However, it is evident that the opening of that crossing has not become a magic wand, contrary to the assurances we've heard for months from certain members of the Security Council. Moreover, according to the information we received from those working on the ground, almost all aid passing through Ada falls into the hands of exclusively one of the parties, the RSF. We welcome the readiness of the Sudanese leadership to use other routes for the delivery of aid. I would like to emphasize that this decision is yet another demonstration of Port Sudan's constructive attitude towards cooperation, which should be encouraged and welcomed in every possible way. It is not never-ending Security Council meetings that is required, but rather a comprehensive approach and resources. The situation around the town of El Fasher in northern Darfur is also quite tense. Hostilities there have resumed with renewed vigor. We call on the warring parties to exercise restraint and comply with the norms of international humanitarian law. At the same time, it is important to bear in mind that, unlike the RSF rebels rampaging in the outskirts of the town, the Sudanese armed forces, with the support of local self-defense units, are ensuring the protection and safety of civilians there, and striving to bring stability back to northern Darfur. Whatever attitude certain council members may have towards one or the other party to the conflict, it is a matter of principle that the existing government of Sudan is the sole guarantor of the unity, sovereignty, and territorial integrity of the state. We can't but recognize that. What should be prioritized at the current stage is an immediate cessation of hostilities. Right after the end of the acute phase of the conflict, there should be resumed inter-Sudanese dialogue, and without external interference. In order to make this dialogue inclusive, it is crucial to involve all influential political forces and the country's main ethno-confessional groups, including authoritative regional leaders. And everything should be done without any instructions from abroad. We are convinced that the Sudanese people can and should resolve their internal problems on their own. We support the efforts of the personal envoy of the Secretary General for Sudan, Mr. Ramtane Lamamra, aimed at a swift re-establishment of peace and stability there. We believe that any efforts to bring the Sudanese antagonists closer together should be carried out under the auspices of the World Organization, and that various initiatives by individual states or regional associations should harmoniously complement them. For our part, Russia is ready to assist in addressing the acute humanitarian crisis in the country and contribute to the post-conflict recovery of Sudan's civilian infrastructure.